Welcome to this video about Theta Healing and what it actually is. So, Theta Healing works with a brain wave state, a brain frequency, and it works with a theta state. And the theta state is also referred to as the God frequency. What makes this mind state really, really powerful is that we are highly, highly receptive to new ideas in the state, and we can really gain some clarity on our frame of mind, what's happening in our mind, and we can very easily let go of things that are holding us back, things that are blocking us. We can actually get very clear perspective on what those things actually are. So Theta Healing works around this. I'm going to explain to you what it is and then how that can benefit you. Alright, so welcome to this video. My name is Adrian Nelson. I am a Theta Healing practitioner, and I'm telling you, it is just everything. It is amazing. It is so you get modalities and then you get Theta Healing, and it doesn't discredit any of the other modalities at all, because what really makes Theta Healing so profound is that it really draws on a lot of benefits of many other really powerful and highly effective modalities. Hypnotherapy forming a very central core part of it. So it's when you think hypnotherapy and you think of the benefits of NLP and access bars and neuroscience and metaphysics and the power of suggestion and affirmations, getting clarity, abundance, manifestation, vision board, because you create a vision in your mind. It's a visual thing. And now a lot of people may say, well, I'm not a very visual person. Well, here's the thing. Your mind operates in pictures, and anybody can be taught how to be visual. And it's really cool because in the coaching, which is world-class, exceptional coaching that is endorsed by the Think Institute, you are taught how to guide anybody, as in anybody, through a session, regardless of whether they believe themselves to be capable of visualization or not. So it's really, really powerful. So just to give you the different states of mind, or the different brain waves, so there's 5 different brain waves. So there is the beta state, which is pretty much the state that that you are probably in right now. You're aware of your surroundings, you're aware of the fact that you're looking at a video that I am giving to you, and all those sort of things. You're aware of it, you are awake, you are functioning. Okay. And then you get the alpha state. So the alpha state, you kind of go a little bit into a almost like a, sorry, I was just shouting at the doggies. So you're going into a more receptive state. And when you think of the silver method, which is amazing, and it's something that I've also studied quite in depth, and it's so incredible, you get those benefits here as well. So if any of you are familiar with the silver method by Jose Silva, then you get all of those. But and it's amazing, and it's really, really powerful, but you get things really, really fast and in a really, really lasting way, because Theta Healing works on all 4 the belief systems that we have, and I'm going to speak about the belief systems in just a little bit. So the alpha state is that state where when you are just about to fall asleep, and you're aware of the fact that you're going to fall asleep, or you have started waking up and you're aware of the fact that you're still sort of like asleep but waking up. That is the alpha state. All right, very, very powerful state. But then the theta state, or the theta state, boom, this is where the magic happens. Now, I've been a hypnotherapist for 5 years, up until just over 5 years, almost 5.5, up until this particular point in time. And hypnotherapy is incredible. It is amazing. I have seen so many miraculous changes and breakthroughs and all those amazing things. And I'm making a separate video on the difference between, just sort of regression hypnosis itself, sort of like quantum regression hypnosis and Theta Healing. But in this video, we're just speaking about Theta Healing, what it is, and how you can benefit from it. Okay. In addition to the many other videos that I've made already, you'll see there's a playlist that I've actually got on Theta Healing. So if you want to see some of the other things, then you can just go ahead and check it out. All right. So the Theta state, what happens is you communicate directly with the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind sort of like controls or manages about now it's about 90% of your mind. And it really does run your life, because that encompasses all our beliefs about ourselves. And what you believe about yourself is what is going to determine what your experience of life is how your life is going to unfold. And that is why your focus is so important. But it was so amazing to me when I realized in Theta Healing coaching that through all the work that I've been doing on myself through all of these years, I was only working on the one belief level. And that is why a lot of times, no matter how many modalities you do, how many healing sessions you go for, what you practice, what you try, affirmations, vision board, whatever, you keep on being in this loop. You keep on not getting the fulfillment, the satisfaction. It's almost like life feels like it's a little bit spiteful. The harder you try, the more and more you keep on getting to the same frustrating, debilitating point, and it seems to be worse every single time. And the reason why that happens is because the human mind, the human brain, it likes to keep a level of consistency, because consistency feels safe to the mind. Now, the mind doesn't distinguish between this is good and this is bad. Those are human terms, all right? And those are objective terms. Those are labels we put on things. The mind is neutral, all right? So the mind tries to keep you in a space of familiarity, because what is familiar feels safe to it. And that is why when you look at someone that comes from a family that is wealthy, for example, it doesn't matter where you throw that person in. If they lose everything, shoop, 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 before you know it, they'll get everything back, because it's a belief within themselves, within their pathology, within their genetics, that they are successful, they are abundant, so they're attracted. And that is also why it's so difficult to sometimes get out of the what we would call a non-serving pattern. The things that you don't like, the broken relationships, the job that's always bad, the home that's always bad, always getting this, always getting that, nothing working out. That is why in Theta Healing we work on all 4 belief systems, because if you don't release and implement, so if you don't release the non-serving idea and implement a positively serving idea on all 4 levels, eventually the non-serving pattern will come back. It's like a very persistent plant or tree or something. If you don't release it, with all roots and everything, all traces, it will just keep on coming back. Okay? It's like it's like if you've got like a virus or something and you're on a course of antibiotics. If you don't complete the course, then chances are the virus is just going to regenerate itself again. It's going to be stronger the second time around, because it wants to survive. It wants to be sure that what you try this time is not going to work again next time. And then sometimes we have the experience that we would say, well, I've been working with this healer and they were really great before, but they're not really great now. Maybe they've changed. Maybe they're not in light anymore. But, yes, they've changed because life changes us, but you've changed. And so you've built resistance to what would have worked before. And so your mind goes like, haha, you think you got me. I got you. It ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? All right. So also with the theta state, which is really incredible, there are people that meditate for years and years and years to be able to, to reach, to attain the theta state. And that still doesn't mean that they can maintain it, So it's really, really challenging. And in hypnotherapy, I would always work with the theta state, but it would take me quite a while to get the client there, like 40 minutes. Now I can do a whole theta healing session in 40 minutes. It is that powerful, it's that effective. There's been lots of research that's been put into it, in how the brain works. It follows a real neuroscience path of how the mind works, of how the brain works. Okay, so what is really great is that you learn how to get somebody in the theta state in under 10 minutes. It doesn't matter who you are. So there's none of that whole thing of like, well, you see, I can't be hypnotized. We are more alike than we are different. All right? And then the other 2 mindsets that there are is the delta state. That's when you're gone like a light. You fast asleep. You bye-bye. And then you've got gamma. Gamma is a state of being incredibly awake and incredibly alert. So maybe like in a sense of danger, or you've got heightened levels of like adrenaline and stuff like that. All right. So theta is a beautiful space because theta is actually a state in which more often than not you will actually sort of be asleep already. So with theta healing, some beautiful through the years, some because I think if I remember correctly, Vina Stable, who is the creator of theta healing, I think it started in 1994, and she actually healed herself from cancer, actual cancer. She healed herself, and I mean, she got very little time to live, and they said, well, maybe if you just amputate your leg, maybe that will work. And she's like, no, that's not going to work. And she had small children, so she had real motivation to find something different, and she's always been very strongly connected, so channeled with source, and it's so beautiful when you do these sessions. Okay, so it works with those 5 states. And also just want to let you know that the information that I'm sharing with you, it's from one of Vina Stable's books. It's called Digging for Beliefs. Right, and if you study theta healing, then in the what I would call the 4 foundation or the 4 pillars of theta healing, is you start with basic DNA, and I can tell you I have taken some really expensive, really in-depth coaching before, and this basic DNA in theta healing, it is next level. It nothing else nothing else that I personally came across before holds a candle to it. Nothing. All right. So it's that, and then there's advanced, and advanced is amazing because you learn incredible things, and I've made some videos on this that is already in the playlist, about healing the baby in the womb, because you can step outside of time, you work directly with the creator of all that is. So with theta healing, you don't get all of those negative things that you maybe get with, say, like a Reiki practice, for example. And I'm a Reiki master, that you work with the 5th plane of existence and the 7 planes of existence. So you work with the 5th plane of existence, which is with your angels, your guides, and your guardians, which is pure energy, but there's always the energy exchange. If you work with so we're in the 3rd dimension. The 4th dimension is the spirit realm. The 2nd dimension, that's where you get the plant kingdom and the fairies. You work with them, fairies are always going to want something. I'll make a video about that at some time, more detailed, but the thing about fairies is that they're very happy, jovial sort of beings. And if they're in your home and you don't set clear boundaries with them, loving, kind, and respectful boundaries, obviously, but if they consider, you their friend, and they can see that maybe, let's say you're on your way to a meeting that you don't feel like going to, and it's a really important meeting, but you don't feel like going to it. Maybe it's some HR thing, and you're like, you have to present something, or there's a hearing, or whatever, you have to chat, or you're accused, or whatever, and they understand you don't want to go. They're going to like hide your keys and stuff like that, because in their mind, they'll be like, well, if you don't want to do it, why are you going to do it? You know what I mean? So you have to be very good. So working with the different planes, you want to know what you're working with. Otherwise, you can get a lot of problems. The first, the plane, that's where you get like the crystals and all the other solid things, the mountains, the planet, that sort of stuff. But there's energy exchanges when you work with these different planes. The 6th plane of existence is the laws of the universe, and then the 7th plane, that is all that is. That is the space of the creator. And this is a space where there's no energy exchange, because all just is. And every other plane kind of like, is sort of like from that. So you can still work with any of the other planes, but then you want to work through the source of all that is, the all creator source, because otherwise there's those energy exchanges, and a lot of times, we don't sort of like get rid of the energy properly. And that is why a lot of times we get healers and channelers and mediums that, they get sick, and they put on weight, because a lot of times so much of the energy is flowing. And this is what's really great about theta healing. You are witnessing it all happening. You are a participant. The healing is, technically speaking, between the client and the creator. Nothing flows through you, so nothing has to hit you. All right. And interestingly enough, especially if you are interested in becoming a theta healing practitioner, because you witness what is happening in accordance with the with the laws of metaphysics. If something hasn't been observed, did it really happen? So you observe the healing, and because what you see also becomes true for you, so your life can become very abundant very quickly. Granted, you remain, operating from a space that is moral. You don't get to say, oh, I can make lots of money from this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making money, because again, the exchange rate on planet Earth is money, but you want to keep it balanced. Right? Anything going out of balance, always a problem. Okay. Oh yeah. So advance, and then you do digging for beliefs. This is how you. Now I am so excited because my course for digging for beliefs is actually coming this weekend. It's a 2-day course. Because with the clients that I already have, I've had such I can almost burst into tears when I speak about it. Such amazing breakthroughs with clients in under an hour. And I'm not rushing them because we're working outside of time. That even I like, wow. All right, it's really, really powerful. It's powerful for healing. It's powerful for release. And the thing with Theta Healing, so this is the thing with Theta Healing, is that it works on the bottom belief, which in hypnosis is called a core initiator. And the bottom belief, if you can imagine it, it's very beautifully explained in this book. If you can imagine all the levels of manifestation, consequent manifestation from the bottom belief that follows, it is all built, it's like a tower of building blocks. So instead of being concerned about the whole tower of building blocks, we go right to the bottom block, the foundation, the core initiator of whatever it is that you're experiencing in life as your problem, whether it's love, money, health, whatever. So when you go to that bottom belief, which could be in this lifetime, could be genetic, it could be inherited, it can be from your soul family, from your ancestors. When you go to that and you heal that, you release that, and you replace it with a better serving idea. That is why there's such fast manifestation, because you're working outside of time. And manifestation being you being aligned with the dimension where you are already living the life of your dreams. You manifest nothing. We align with things. When you try so hard to create something, we actually confirm that it doesn't exist. Interesting, eh? All right. So Theta Healing works on 4 different belief levels. So I'm going to tell you about the belief levels, and then I'm going to give you an idea of what a session is like. Though, just to let you know, with the session, it's good to arrive with intention, but not expectation, because intention sets a clear goal. Expectation typically comes from some sort of comparison, which more often than not comes from lack. Even if you say, "Ooh, my friend had a really great session. I hope that I have, a session as great as my friend." So you're already expecting that thing. You're saying this is what you want, but what the mind hears is that there's doubt as to whether it may or may not work for you. Okay? Just moving these cards. I've got like 4 doggies around me. 2 Jack Russells and 2 Yorkies. Quite crazy. They're exceptionally quiet actually, but one's looking through the window now. Let me open the window for you, Bubbles here. You can be the security guard. Monitor the road. All right. So the 4 belief levels. So we've got we believe beliefs on 4 levels. And you want to work on all 4 levels, because if you don't work on all 4 levels, then whatever the pattern is, or basically the belief which causes a pattern, which is your life experience, will return, because your mind likes to maintain a flow of familiarity. Okay? So, the first one is your core beliefs. And this is the level on which most healing, most practices, most everything works. And this is a wonderful, wonderful level to work on, but working only on that level by default really causes your troubles to come back. In actual fact, they've never really left. Okay? And in that way, you can spend years and years and years on healings. No, baby. No. Nope. I'm going to close that curtain. You can spend years and years and years and never really make any actual progress, which can be incredibly demotivating. It can be very, very draining. Okay? So the core levels, I'm going to read for you from the booklet what it says. So it says core beliefs are what we are taught in this life and have accepted from childhood. These beliefs have become part of us and are held as energy in the frontal lobe of the brain. All right? And if you grow up in life, you're just going to take on some beliefs. Some are going to serve you well, some are not going to serve you well. all right? And from the time of conception till about 6.5, 7 years old, we are like sponges. We just take, and build our beliefs from there. And we go through a lot of things in life. We go through a lot of trauma in life. Change schools, going to school, changing nannies, divorce, moving, a pet passing, a parent passing, our favorite toy going missing, and then we have to cry ourselves to sleep. All of those things build trauma. So just because you've got trauma doesn't necessarily mean it's somebody's fault per se, because, as an adult myself now, today is Friday, and on Monday past, July the 8th, 2024, I turned 42 years old. So I'm officially an adult now. And what I know is that, when I was young, I would look at adults, and I was open like 21, you've got life figured out. And I turned 21, and I'm like, no. So it's not, it can be, but it doesn't even have to be that you grew up in a house of neglect. Maybe you grew up in a house of love. But then where did that love come from? Maybe your parents were so scared that something bad will happen to you that they were overprotective. So then you learn that love is stifling. Maybe a parent hit you and they said, I'm hitting you because I love you, so you understand love hurts. And then you have trouble with relationships. Well, I don't know, you were having fun, skiing on your socks down the passageway or something like that, and you fell and you hurt yourself. And then somebody says, you see, I told you to stop that. You're having too much fun. What the mind hears is that fun is not safe. Having a good time is not safe. Okay? So a single moment can really ignite a non-serving belief as well as positive serving beliefs. So in Theta Healing, we look at what are the positive beliefs, maintain the positive ones because they work well for you. But eradicate the negative ones. But before the negative or non-serving belief is removed, your brain holds onto that belief for a reason because it gets something from it. It gets some sort of virtue from it. And that could be that you become more motivated, that you become more determined, you become more focused. A lot of people, myself included, develop the ability that you can really see people past the mask and the pretenses. So it gives you something. But when it kind of served you in the way that it could serve you, which typically is not always that pleasant in any case, you get to a certain point where you are ready to part ways with it. And that is usually when you would come for a Theta Healing session. You'll be guided to it. Okay? You'll be looking for something. Genetic beliefs. In this level, beliefs are inherited from our ancestors or are being added to the genes in this life. Now you might wonder how the hell that is even possible. So remember that as human beings, we are clones of each other. When you really think about it, your father's sperm cell got into your mother's egg cell, and from those two blueprints, that carries all of the knowledge of their whole lineage out for you. And I always say that people are like software, are like mobile devices, like a cell phone. You are born with pre-installed software, pre-installed beliefs, pre-installed ideas. You cannot just pop up here and you have none, because how will you operate in this world? And a lot of the ideas that we are, what we might be seeing as negative might actually be quite positive. We might just need to reframe your sort of like your neural pathways around it, your mind, your brain, basically, your nervous system. So let's think of an example. So let's say, for example, I believe if you are a Theta Healing practitioner, especially a trainer, you feel you have a desire to help. You really want to help. I am very passionate about helping people succeed. I don't want to build codependent relationships with them. I want them to come to me. I want to help them. I want them to leave and go and live their beautiful life. You know what I'm saying? But in our ancestors, you had to be in a community, you had to be in a space, you had to be in a space of togetherness, because if you were not in a space of togetherness, then chances for your survival were a lot more slim than what they currently are. So So now you're coming to the modern world, and it might be difficult for you to live on your own. It might be difficult for you to, maybe, let's say you've got a passion for being an entrepreneur, and you're like me, maybe like, I'm a tarot reader and a hypnotherapist and Theta Healing and like abundance coaching and all those sort of things and YouTube and whatever. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, but a lot of that encompasses me being, spending significant amounts of time by myself, more so than many other people will do in the world, in their regular sort of jobs. And I've had this experience, you begin to feel incredibly lonely, you know, because in our pathology, in our genetics of who we are, there were community ties. We felt safe as a result of that. We understand on a deeper level that this is, it's imprinted into the core of who we are. So it's not a core belief, but it could be, but, into the core of who we are, the essence of who we are with the genetic beliefs that, safety in numbers. And you can see it in all life forms. You put a couple of plants together, they thrive, even if they're in different pot plants. They don't even have to be planted into the ground, because they exchange energy with each other. If you actually place a newborn child, an adopted newborn child with a family, their genetic patterning will start to copy that of the family. That's how amazing genetics are, because we're always speaking to each other in energy. We're energy beings. And with about 90% of our lives being run by our subconscious mind, we communicate a lot on the subconscious. It's like when you go for a polygraph test. All those things about, like, they pick up like sweat glands and your heartbeat, and even like they don't even do the thing, but like even scent and stuff like that. It communicates quite strongly to each other, and that is why certain people will sort of like draw you closer, and some people will just repel you, and you might not actually know why. Okay. Even with a newborn baby, with the mother, when the baby drinks from the mother's milk, it communicates to the mother's, to the mother's being what the baby needs, and then the body produces what the baby needs. And even when a mother just looks in a baby's eyes, which is something that mothers and babies instinctively do, the mother's body creates everything that the baby's body needs to, to survive and to thrive and stuff like that. It's amazing. And on a deeper level, sometimes we've got a deeper knowledge. I mentioned I can't remember which video it was now that I make. I think it was the baby in the womb video, where, for like the first, there were some complications with my birth. There are all stories there. You can go check it out. It's quite a beautiful one to look at, because it's next level. But go look at it. Otherwise, I'm going to talk too much about it now and go off the point. But for about the first 6 seconds of my life, I was dead. Literally dead. Boom, gone. And I always say that, and this is very much in my nature. I'm naturally a person who would rather just eat the frog first. Let's get the difficult thing out of the way first. So when it comes to what awakens you to spiritual sort of like ascension and awareness and whatever, a near-death experience. So I just started to get it out of the way. Better than going through life and then having some bad thing happening and then I have to go to the hospital and so forth and so forth and so forth. You know what I mean? It's amazing when you think of it. But, I flatly, and I mean, I was born in 1982. I flatly refused to take formula milk. I refused. So my mother had to breastfeed me because I refused to take formula milk, because, I imagine that because of that understanding from the near-death experience, I just understood that it's better for me to get mother's milk right from the start. And then, of course, in beautiful accordance with that, my mother had no problem producing milk at all. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay. And then, obviously added to our genes later in life. So, I mean, this is with many things, how genes can be added to your life. But essentially, we take on each other's patterns. We begin to mirror each other. People live in the same home, they start to have the same patterns, the same behavioral patterns. Women stay together, their moon cycles begin to link up. People begin to like the same things. You may not like football, but you stay with people with football long enough, you begin to like it. Your genetics adapt, because as human beings, we are designed to fit in a community. All right? These beliefs are energy stored in the morphogenetic field around our physical DNA. This field of knowledge is what tells the mechanics of the DNA what to do. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this because it's quite a broad subject, but when you look at neuroscience, and even just there's some amazing like beginner courses really, it's fascinating how the mind works, because the DNA will tell the brain what needs to happen, and then there's a whole process around sort of like when we speak about like the third eye, basically, that controls your melatonin levels, which is like your sleep levels, and sort of like balancing your hormones, and that will let you know what hormones to release, and then that sends it all the way down into the body to like neurons and whatever, and it tells it what to do, and then the body reacts and it programs the cells, and then they give some feedback and so forth and so forth and so forth. So there's a reason why the brain resists change, because it has to take care of a lot. Your brain has to take care of the whole functionality of your whole body. And your body consists of trillions of cells working together, not billions, trillions of cells working together to form the core part of who you are. Every one of those cells, they are an exact replica of what the entire universe, our entire universe looks like. So when you think about it, you are hosting trillions of universes inside of you. So when you speak to your body, it's like God is speaking to you. Think about it. Think about it. And if God all of a sudden changes his story, or the creator, or whatever it is that you want to call for the name of source of all, suddenly changes his story, do you think that human beings are just going to be like, oh, well, cool, God, no worries? No, we're going to be resistant to change. So it's the same thing with the mind. So Theta Healing has developed the skills that you can in one. Now, remember, we heal in layers. So it doesn't mean that sometimes you might benefit from more than one session, but in one session you can really benefit so much. Growth changes that might take you years can happen in the space of an hour. And it's not overwhelming or anything like that. In actual fact, it's quite relieving. Now, in the middle of a session, sometimes, the experience itself can be a little bit stressful sometimes, because the closer you get to that bottom belief, the subconscious mind is going to try to get you away from it. So I've literally had people that you speak to them. Actually, I had an experience like that yesterday. You speak to them and they don't hear you. They literally don't hear you. Literally, the subconscious mind deafens them to what you were saying. And or they just talk over you because they want to tell the story, because the story defends it. It's like, yes, I want to do it, but this is the reason why I can't do it. Or another thing that people often do is they self-diagnose. They will say, well, it's because I've got this mental thing going on. Now, of course, with medical conditions and mental health conditions, of course, you wanna still work with your medical practitioner, with your licensed practitioner, obviously, because those are fields that are very valid. And if you work in accordance with it and you are open and honest, not deceptive with your practitioner, you can make beautiful results beautifully fast. Okay? Because especially with if you need some sort of medication to be okay, it means you are dependent on something. You are addicted to something. Let me just help the doggy on the bed. Come here. Oh, there you go. Sorry. History beliefs. This level concerns memories from past lives, deep genetic memories, or collective consciousness experiences that we carry into the present. These memories are held in our auric field. All right? So genetics is in our DNA. History is in our auric field. You can kind of imagine it's around you, and there is also all sorts of other ideas around, because remember, we're all energy. So if you think of yourself as being light, I want you to imagine, okay, give me just a second. Doom, 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 doom. Creating on the fly. Creating on the fly. Yeah. Creating on the fly, creating on the fly, creating on the fly, fly. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this is a lamp, and I just want to let you know it's obviously going to be bright. So imagine this, you switch on, everybody is energy, it's a lamp that switch on. If I switch on this lamp, this light, it fills the entire room. Okay, let's just switch it off. Or let's just leave it on. So think of it like this. Now guys, this light fills the entire room. You know, there's no point in fighting dark because you can do like all your karate kicks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You killed my master. Now I get you back. Or you can just switch on the light and go, there goes the darkness. Which is all fine and well. But now imagine you've got colored light globes. And you switch all of them on. It's all light. It's all essentially white light that it's just got color over it. But it expresses itself in different ways. So it's almost like it sort of like begins to intermingle in with each other. And that is how energies affect each other. Whether you choose to believe it or not, it is what it is. Okay? So you can do quite a lot of clearing for that and protecting your auric field, which I think is one of the most amazing things about Theta Healing. And then also the fourth belief system is the soul level. This level is all that a person is. These are the deepest and most pervading of all the belief programs and are pulled off the completeness of an individual beginning at the heart chakra outward. Okay? Because the heart is essentially, it's all about love, and we are a creation of love. As human beings, you are literally. It's not some beautiful, convoluted, new age term when you say that somebody's a star seed. We are literally made of stars, of star seeds. Sort of exploded stars. Literally, that's what you are. So with Theta Healing, it works on all four the different belief levels. So it pulls the beliefs, then you download, better serving beliefs. Sorry. But it's all about feelings. Because what you want to do is you want to understand what the non-serving belief gave you. What is the virtues that it gave you? Because it gave you something, which is why the mind is holding on to it. And you need to give the mind a valid reason to release it. Otherwise, it's not going to. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna. If you don't give the reason, not gonna. That's why when it comes to manifestation, it's never about the how, it's always about the why. If you don't give the mind a justifiable reason, it's going to be like, no, can't be bothered. And so even in Theta Healing, you ask a lot of questions: what, where, when, why, and how. Those are the questions, because the mind doesn't like open-ended things. Despises it, And so when you ask an open-ended question towards a certain intention, you ask the question, but it's open-ended towards an intention, so your mind can only give you a solution that is in alignment with the set intention, and it answers the question, so it can close the loop. Okay? So Theta Healing beautifully embraces that, beautifully, masterly. So, and then you also want to understand what parts of this belief you may want to let go. You want to remember that you exist on all levels. You exist in the here and the now, you exist in the past, you exist in the future. Time is a linear thing on planet Earth, so that we can have the experience of being here, then, and there now. So it's almost like an adventure. If you kind of imagine that you have got a big planted fish tank, and you've got different parts in it, different plants and all those sort of things. So the fish can have the experience of being here, being there, playing with this plant, playing with the bubbles in the filter, whatever that may be. Okay. But it's all the same fish tank. When you look at the fish tank, you see a fish in the tank. So the fish has the experience of being here and being there and being there, but when you look at it, you look at a fish in the tank. That's the universe. All just is. But then you can say, okay, there's a fish in the tank. Or you can say, there's, this fishy, Jimmy is by that plant, Sandy is over there, you should name your fish or something like that. Hey, no, Bubbles. It's not going to work for you. My, oh my. Just a second, sorry, y'all. So here's an example of time. You've been watching this video, you may have noticed a glitch, but to you it's just one video. But I've gotten up, I've picked up the lamp, I've put it on the shelf, I moved the things, I opened the window for the dog, I moved the other dog, I moved the blanket. I've done a whole lot of things in my time. But in your time, there's just a little glitch. You see what I mean? Okay, so when you come for a Theta Healing session, I want to let you know, sometimes people have this idea that, and this is also a beautiful way in which we sabotage ourselves, but also we are creatures of habit. So we are more used to the idea that everything is done in person, and online is a rather new concept. But I want to let you know, whether you have a session in person or online, they are equally powerful. Equally powerful. It's amazing, you know. And I would for years say, I don't feel like I like with hypnotherapy. I can't, I prefer to do in-person sessions and not online. It doesn't work for me. And then the pandemic came and the lockdowns, and I had one of two choices. I can either have a job or not a job, you know. So sometimes challenges can actually propel you forward in a very positive way. I see challenges as an opportunity to go forward. Whereas a lot of people have to believe in their genetics, in their pathology, that it's something that holds you back. But see how your beliefs can change your life. Okay? Either way. Alright, so when you come for a session, you will be taken through a bit of a guided session. Now, everybody works a little differently, obviously. You can be laying down. For me, I would just have you in a rather comfortable seating position. Chances are that you might do some muscle testing, which might be sitting down with the hands or with the body standing up. And muscle testing is really powerful, especially with somebody that's, if you are very new to this. Because, I can, for example, ask you a question. So we determine the body's yes and no response. And, after that, I'll ask you a question. And I'll say, for example, ask you something like, are you willing to embrace a positive change? And the body says yes, because you're coming from the core level. But then I said, repeat after me, I am willing to embrace positive change on all levels. And then the body says no, because maybe it's not willing to do so, on a genetic level, because it kind of goes against your genetic belief systems. And it's not it says muscle test, but it's not like something you can get right or wrong. It just helps the practitioner to establish where you are, and it also helps you to see where you are. And once you then make those changes, after the session, we do some body testing again, and then you realize that, so are you willing to make some changes? Yes. Are you willing to make changes on all levels? Yes. So you can see that you've taken on that belief. You can see in your consciousness that you've taken on that belief. It can be very, very powerful, incredibly so, So you can expect to come, to a session, and you can expect it to feel very peaceful. Now, sometimes when it does come to releases, it can feel a little overwhelming in the sense that, you might feel some emotions. People sometimes get a bit argumentative because the subconscious is trying to maintain the pattern. But in general, all the work is done in one session. So by the time you're done with the session, you feel freaking amazing. And you can expect to be asked some questions and to reply to some things. And what's really powerful also with the releases, you also get to download feelings for how it is that you want to feel, because you also want to understand how you want to feel before you take on that belief. Otherwise, again, the mind, in the same way that it won't release it, it won't take it on, or it won't take it on as effectively as it can, if it doesn't understand why. It's always about why with the mind, But you can expect to have a beautiful session. You can expect to have a beautiful experience. It's literally nothing to stress about. Really not. It's nothing overwhelming. It's nothing funny. It's nothing funky. Nobody's messing with your mind. And it's a really enriching experience. And people sometimes, they would, in this short period, I got a lot of people that ask me, so is it better to have one session or to have a couple of sessions? Because the belief is also a societal belief, basically, a genetic belief, is that, and even a core belief, is that in order for something to be effective, it has to be long, difficult, expensive, those sort of things. So I would say to people that we release on different belief levels. If you are really committed to change, then I would say maybe go for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 sessions. But you can also have one and see how it goes for you, and then you take it from there. Speak to your practitioner. Different people work in different ways. Speak with someone that really resonates with you. And if the person doesn't, then maybe, ask them if you can maybe, work with someone different. Because something powerful that I came to learn in hypnotherapy, for example, is that sometimes you will kind of feel a little bit of a repulse in someone else. And it doesn't mean that that person's got bad energy or dark karma or bad juju or whatever. It could maybe just be the shape of their nose that reminds you of something else that happened at somewhere, some point or the other. You know, maybe in their childhood, whatever. Something bad happened and there happened to be somebody with a big nose and boom, you know. But I can say from personal experience and what I've seen, this is so amazing. And all the reasons, you know, you could say, well, I can't go to a session because let's say maybe money is a problem. Typically, if money, say for example, is a problem or confidence is a problem, it's probably going to get resolved in that session. So that problem itself will go away as well. Okay, so if you're open to a session, my contact details are down below in the description. There's a couple of videos there, you know, with different things. Feel free to ask questions, to comment, to share this video with anybody that may benefit from it. And, you know, I work both online and in person, and I'm very passionate about this. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and I just wish you all the best. So may the rest of your life be the best of your life. Namaste.